Hey everyone, welcome! So if you're staring down your upcoming economics exam and feeling just a little overwhelmed by all these market structures, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to conquer Block 3 together. Our core mission in this explainer is to take all that super dense textbook theory on price and output determination and break it down into a really structured visual approach. We're going to lock in the absolute must-know concepts so you can walk into that exam room with total confidence. Let's do this!
But before we get completely lost in the graphs and formulas, I want you to take a look at this. Education is a liberating force, and in our age, it is also a democratizing force, cutting across the barriers of caste and class. This is a remarkably powerful quote from Indira Gandhi, and it's actually found right in the opening pages of your material. I really want you to use this to frame your studying today. Remember, you aren't just memorizing facts to pass a test, you're engaging in a genuinely empowering, liberating act. Okay, let's dive in.
All right, so our source material for today's mission is your textbook, MEC-101 Microeconomic Analysis, specifically Block 3. We're going to distill all the essential takeaways from these pages into simple, clear concepts that you'll be able to easily recall when it matters most.
Here's our game plan for today. We're going to cover 1. Perfect competition, 2. Monopoly, 3. Monopolistic competition, 4. Oligopoly, and finally, 5. A final exam summary.
Starting right off with Section 1, Perfect Competition, Price Takers.
Okay, definitely take a mental note of this definition. Perfect competition is what we call an idealized market structure. It basically assumes there are numerous buyers and sellers in the market, like so many, in fact, that no single agent actually has the power to affect the market price. So the really crucial point here is that both producers and consumers in this market are what we call price takers. Neither side has any control over the price of the commodity. They basically just have to accept the going market rate.
So that's one extreme, right? Where everyone is just a tiny drop in a massive ocean. But what happens when we swing the pendulum from that idealized extreme all the way to the complete opposite side? I mean, what happens when one single entity has literally all the market power?
Well, that brings us to Section 2, Monopoly, the price makers.
Notice this stark contrast here. This is absolutely crucial for your exam memory. In perfect competition, we've got numerous sellers with zero control over the price. But in a monopoly, it's just a single seller acting as a price setter or price maker. They supply the entire quantity demanded, so they get to dictate their own price. But hey, I want you to pay really close attention to that last point. Because the monopolist has total control, it actually causes a welfare loss in the market. That's a key feature discussed in your textbook, and let me tell you, professors love to test you on it.
Now, to be fair, your textbook explicitly notes that perfect competition and pure monopoly are idealized structures. You rarely ever encounter them in the real world. So, let's wade into the messy middle of the market spectrum. Where do real-world businesses actually operate when they have many sellers, but they all sell something just slightly different?
That leads us right into Section 3, Monopolistic Competition, Standing Out.
This, right here, is how firms actually fight for power in the real world. Monopolistic competition is kind of like a mashup of both extremes. There are many producers, just like perfect competition, but they don't sell identical items. Instead, producers strive to differentiate their products from their rivals. And because the products are similar but not exactly identical, firms rely heavily on what your textbook calls selling costs. Think advertising to draw customers in. So pro tip, when you see a test question about advertising and product differentiation, you should immediately think monopolistic competition.
Moving right along to Section 4, Oligopoly, the strategic rivals.
Let's look at the formal definition. An oligopoly is a market system dominated by just a few big suppliers of either homogeneous or differentiated products. But I want you to underline, highlight, and circle this next phrase in your brain, strategic interdependence. Because there are only a few firms, they do exercise some control over prices, but they absolutely cannot act in a vacuum. They have to constantly anticipate their rivals' reactions regarding output, price changes, advertising, you name it. Basically, everything is a highly strategic chess match. And because of this really intense rivalry, your textbook introduces some pretty specific vocabulary. You are definitely going to want to save this exact textbook definition of conjectural variation because it is highly likely to be tested.
It's defined as the reaction of the jth firm corresponding to a marginal adjustment in the ith firm's strategy variable as perceived by the ith firm. I know, it sounds like a mouthful, right? But in simple terms, it's basically just how firm A guesses firm B will react if firm A decides to change its strategy. It is literally the mathematical heartbeat of oligopoly interdependence.
Okay, another absolutely crucial oligopoly concept is the sticky price model, sometimes called the kinked demand curve solution. Ever notice how prices in certain industries just never really seem to change much? That's because of this model. It's a situation where price and output remain unchanged within a certain range. Why? Well, because firms are terrified that if they raise their prices, their rivals won't follow suit and they'll just lose market share. But on the flip side, if they lower their prices, rivals will immediately match them, which just leads to a massive price war where literally nobody wins. So the prices just stay sticky.
Real quick, before we get to our summary, please do not let the exam trick you with the buyer side equivalent of all this. While an oligopoly is all about a few large sellers, an oligopopsony is a market situation with a small number of buyers. In this setup, each buyer can control the level of their purchases, but each is noticeably affected by the actions of the other buyers. So just keep the prefixes straight in your head. Poly is for sellers, and popsony is for buyers. You got this.
And finally, Section 5, Final Exam Summary.
All right, take a deep breath because this matrix right here is the ultimate study tool you've been waiting for. I highly recommend locking this cheat sheet into your memory for test day. Perfect competition, you've got numerous sellers, identical products, and zero price control. Monopoly, one single seller, a totally unique product, and total price control. Monopolistic competition, many sellers, differentiated products, and some price control via advertising. Oligopoly, just a few sellers, homogeneous or differentiated products, and highly strategic interdependent price control. When you're taking the actual test, just visualize this grid and use it to immediately eliminate those wrong multiple choice answers.
And there you have it. You have completely conquered Block 3. But hey, before I let you get back to your studying, I want to leave you with a thought. Economics isn't just something that lives in textbooks. It's literally everywhere around you. If perfect competition and pure monopoly are mostly just theoretical extremes, think about the universities, the tutoring services, and the textbook publishers you interact with every single day. Which messy, real-world market structure are you participating in right now as a student? Keep analyzing the world around you. Good luck on your exam, and I'll see you in the next explainer.